Greetings my saplings. In today's video we are going to be discussing the Travis Scott Cactus Jack Air Force One. To be specific, like always in these How to Cop guides, we will be mentioning some release info and some background information, how to cop these of course, and like always some resale predictions. Kicking it off with the release info, the Travis Scott Cactus Jack Air Force One drops this Saturday, November 16th for $160. These come in a full family size run. Toddler pairs will be $65, preschool will be $75, and there's no grade school sizing because the grade school are listed under the same stock keeping unit, which is simply going to be $160, the men's size. Anyway, with the release info out of the way, why don't we move on to the background information. Now, for those of you who already saw the Jordan 6 video, feel free to skip over this straight to the How to Cop portion, but for those of you who didn't, stick around and let's jump right into this. December 2nd, 2017, Travis Scott collaborated with Nike for the first time to create the Cactus Jack Air Force One. Moving to June 9th, 2018, for $225, the Cactus Jack Jordan 4 dropped, a colorway very reminiscent of the Houston Oilers. August 10th, 2018, for $150, we saw yet another Travis Scott Air Force One release. The colorway went from white to sail, a significant difference as you could clearly see. February 14th, for $185, Travis Scott was able to bring demand to the Jordan 33, which is an incredible feat to accomplish. Also in February, we saw a shock drop for the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1, and later saw the wider release occur May 11th, 2019. It's very fair to say this is the majority of people's favorite of the collaborations, considering it had the most stock yet still has the highest resale value. Following this, just recently, July 20th, for only $130, the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Lows released. This release helped bring more demand to the Jordan 1 Lows, which provided many opportunities to profit since. Then, most recently, for the very first time, a collaboration between Nike and Travis released in a full family size run. This was the Travis Scott Jordan 6, perhaps the most frustrating of all the Travis Scott collaborations. People waited until 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time for not even a full-size run dropping on his site. But now we get to see another collaboration in a full family size run, the Travis Scott Air Force One, with a zipper on it now. It's certainly more unique than what we saw with the Sale Air Force One compared to the normal Air Force One. That was just ridiculous. Now we're actually getting to see something different, so whether you love them or you hate them, you could at least know that you're getting something unique. With that out of the way, why don't we jump into how to cop these. So as you guys have likely caught on to by now, when it comes to these really hyped sneaker releases, the vast majority of sites release through a raffle. Hence, I've created an entire online raffle list for you guys on my Twitter, KeithAdam10. Feel free to follow me there. That's where you could find the list. Just scroll down one tweet. Now, obviously, to increase your chances on each of these raffles, you're going to want to make multiple entries, and to do so, you're going to want to do a couple of things to change up your information on each entry. First of all, you want to add periods in between the characters before the @gmail.com. I've provided an example on the screen for you guys to follow. Of course, there's different combinations. There's hundreds and hundreds of combinations. Obviously, the more characters you have, the more combinations there are. And the beauty with this, when you're using the Gmail account, all the emails will still go to your main Gmail account, despite the algorithm being able to filter out your entries. Now, when it comes to your address, this is very simple as well. All you're going to want to do is add 4 random characters in front of your address. For example, if your address is 123 Maple Street, you could add ABCD 123 Maple Street. It's that simple, guys. Then when it comes to phone numbers, all I really do is change the last 2 digits because you don't necessarily want to make it a random phone number. Although there's no verification process for it, you do want it somewhat remotely close. You do want to maintain your area code, so I simply just change up the last few digits. You still have tons of combinations to play with. Then if a card is required, for example for the End Clothing raffle or for the SNS raffle where they do require prepayment, In that case, you will need a different card, and for this I would highly suggest checking out privacy.com, especially if you don't have a lot of normal physical cards. So yeah, the raffles are on my Twitter. My Twitter is KeithAdam10. With that though, why don't we move on to one of the biggest online drops you guys will see. This of course is going to be none other than Travis Scott's own website. I'm not talking about the merch site, I'm talking about the Travis Scott Secure Shopify site, because that site's the one that holds the most expensive Shopify package that has the checkpoints, it has the bot protection. But before we jump into some quick tips, I do want to discuss what occurred with the Travis Scott Jordan 6. Essentially, it was a huge disaster, and it was a disaster because they only dropped some of the sizes. They didn't even drop a full size run. Most importantly, in comparison to the Travis Scott Jordan 1 high stock, this was only about 1% of that, which of course is ludicrous to think of the fact that they would even consider doing something like this. More importantly, the fact that Travis Scott hyped up this release and told people they were dropping tonight. People stayed up until 12:30 a.m. Eastern time, all just to see not even a full-size run drop, which was absolutely pathetic. So hopefully this does not occur again, which I am expecting it to not occur again. I do presume it was just a fluke. But anyway, manual users will do very well. They removed products.json last time, and of course they also do have the checkpoint, so you should expect manual users to capitalize on these opportunities. In order for you guys to cop without the use of a monitor or even without the use of bots, just enable tweet notifications for KeithAdam10. I will tweet out when they do go live. Just have autofill set up on your default browser and make sure you're prepared to solve a CAPTCHA as soon as possible. I would also advise signing into your Google account on your default browser. This way, you increase your chances of receiving a one-click CAPTCHA. I would also advocate for following Travis Scott's Twitter. He does often allude to when the drop time is going to be. But now with that out of the way, those were just some quick tips I did want to mention to you guys. But now moving on to some other sites. Again, we'll only be discussing the sites you'll have a manual shot on, where you won't need a monitor, you won't need any bots. So of course this would mean we're avoiding talking about Soulbox or Dover Street Market, even though we do know those are likely going to be dropping. So anyway, let's discuss two of the biggest sites that you guys can cop off of manually. That is going to be Foot Patrol and Size. Both are mesh sites. Both have already loaded up to Travis Scott. They normally drop at 3 a.m. Eastern time, and if they don't close the apps, you could open the apps and search the apps for Travis. You could also search for keyword Scott or Air Force One, things of that nature, and they should pop up around 3 a.m. Eastern time. Or if the apps happen to be closed, which normally they are, but recently they haven't really been closing them, you would simply have to wait in queue manually. For this, I would highly recommend using multiple Chrome users to increase your chances of getting into queue faster. And if you do happen to get IP banned on Foot Patrol or Size, because it does occur pretty frequently, then of course for Nike sneakers is set to be a Dan release, which is also known as a draw, so you'll be allotted a certain period of time to enter as many accounts as possible. Of course, you're going to want to get in as many as possible to increase your chances, the more the merrier. But now with how to cop out of the way, why don't we move on to some resale predictions. I think it's quite obvious when it comes to these. All sizes are going to be extremely profitable. You should expect an incredible margin as well when it comes to these in any sizes. So yeah, you're going to be going full throttle, going for every size you could get. It doesn't matter what retail you see on any sites. Don't be skeptical. Just go for it. With that though, I'm going to conclude it for today. Feel free to leave a like if you did enjoy, or if you did perhaps learn a thing or two. Also, subscribe and turn on post notifications just so you stay 100% updated on any hype sneaker that is going to be releasing in the future. With that though, just a quick reminder, feel free to follow KeithAdam10. That's where I do have the raffle list. That is also where I will tweet when Travis Scott's website does go live. With that, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
Get your foot off my foot. Get your foot off my foot. Yeah. I should have run the other way. Now there's just one thing to say. Get your foot off my foot.